You know, there's been a lot of coping and seething on the internet over the new Assassin's Creed game, aka Ghost of Tsushima DEI edition, and yes, a lot of folks have been talking about how it's blown out of proportion, it's a lot of angry grifters on the internet. If that's the case, then why did Ubisoft just release and feel the need to put out a message for their Japanese gamers and viewers? Welcome back to Words of Paradise. I'm your host, Land Idol, and yes, we have it right here from the official Assassin's Creed Twitter profile. The Assassin's Creed Shadows team has a message for our Japanese community. So for everybody who is stating it's a bunch of fake tweets, the Japanese aren't actually upset. Oh no, what are you talking about? You're trying to create a racist environment out of Japan. They don't actually care about their history being destroyed and denigrated and being used as a way to push a narrative in the modern gaming culture and culture war at large. I don't think that logic tracks when even Ubisoft themselves gets to come out and say in a 4-page assessment, no less, hey, Japs, we're sorry. Let's go through this to see what they got to say. Maybe debunk any sort of just blatant lies that we can find. 1 of 4. To our esteemed Japanese community, a message from the Assassin's Creed Shadows development team. First, we want to express our heartfelt thanks for all your support for the Assassin's Creed series, which is now its own history spanning almost 20 years. Yes, do not forget, almost 20 years of Assassin's Creed games where they've, yet to go to Japan. They finally do get to go to Japan, and their culture is being usurped by a work of fiction. Over the time, we have explored various settings, time periods, and characters, from an assassin during the Third Crusade to a Viking in the 9th century England, and countless more. For many of them, creating an Assassin's Creed game set in feudal Japan has been a long cherished dream. If it was such a long cherished dream, then why is this the first game where you're playing as a historical character instead of someone new and original made up, and then just have the historical characters on the side? If this is a dream to just set it in feudal Japan, why have the in-game fighting music be hip-hop feudal Japan hip-hop music? Like, you guys got some weird dreams is all I'm saying if this is your execution. Since the announcement of Assassin's Creed Shadows, we have received many positive reactions. Oh, but I'm sure you've received many more negative ones, because if it was almost all positive, you wouldn't feel the need to put this out. You would just ignore it as a small minority of individuals making videos and talking shit. But you're not doing that. You're putting out this statement, which means that for all the positive reactions, for all the many positive reactions, there's many more negative ones, and you can tell this will actually impact the financial success of the game. I've said from the jump, I've said from the get-go, this game is gonna sell. This ain't gonna be a flop as much as people want to be like, oh, DEI, oh, Black Samurai, oh, the game's gonna flop, everyone's gonna vote with their wallets. No, gamers aren't going to vote with their wallets, because they never do. They rarely do, I should say. We do occasionally see games go ahead and just, boom, bring down the ban hammer and get a flop because, they're crap, whether it be because they've got Sweet Baby Inc. involved in them, or whether it be because they're just not good games that nobody's asking for, like Concord. Like, let's get one thing straight. Pronouns in the character bios of Concord or not, that game was still going to fail, because like many others have said, it's a hero shooter in 2024 when that stuff peaked in 2018. Like, it just was never going to succeed to begin with. But the fact of the matter is, you had a game here that will probably be a success, but that success will be tarnished because the sales will be impacted. It will make money, but it will not make near the money that you initially thought it would when you pitched the idea of Assassin's Creed in Japan, purely because you decided to get political with it, purely because you decided to attach an ideology to it, purely because you thought that you could usurp culture and it not be a problem because, oh, the Japanese are so nice, they're not going to say anything, they're going to shut up and buy our games anyway, like good little consumers. Also, some criticism, including from you, our Japanese players. So they admit it. They outright admit the Japanese have some thoughts and some issues and some problems with this game. But, whatever. We're the right-wing racist grifters for just acknowledging that reality. We share your passion for history and deeply respect and care for the historical and cultural integrity of your rich heritage. We would like to address a few points to clarify our intentions and creative decisions. What they mean is to justify why we're going to destroy your culture in this game, and, we're not going to change anything. We're not going to do anything about it. Just basically shut up and buy it, but let's explain why. Now, to be fair, it's a video game. It's fiction. I'm saying things like destroy your heritage and whatnot, and it really ain't that deep. I'm being hyperbolic because it's funny. But by the same token, this truly is a culture war issue because Ubisoft really did think that they could come in and steamroll over the Japanese, the history, the Japanese legacy, and just think, you know what, the Japanese are going to take whatever slop we give them because the message comes before the gameplay, because the message comes before this one little country that's only a small portion of the market share. So that being said, while I am being flamboyant and hyperbolic, this is definitely still a problem. So, just sort of take it somewhere in the middle. Overall authenticity efforts. We have put significant effort into ensuring an immersive and respectful representation of feudal Japan. Then why is it? Let's take all the DEI stuff aside. Let's take the Black Samurai aside. Let's take all that out. Then why is it that you've been called out for multiple instances of wildly inaccurate historical, effects of immersion? Like, I'm not talking about we're talking about there were people saying that there were Japanese individuals saying that, bro, these don't even look like Japanese dwellings, they look Chinese. You got multiple symbols and characters wrong on flags. You were caught stealing, sword designs from anime that weren't even actually representative of feudal Japan. So if you really put significant effort into ensuring an immersive and respectful representation of feudal Japan, then why are so many individuals, again, many of them Japanese, because I ain't no expert on feudal Japan. I like feudal Japan. I'll learn about it because it's cool, but that's mainly just because I love anime. So let's be real, I ain't going to call myself any sort of expert. I'm going to call myself a weeb who likes history. That being said, when you got actual Japanese people who are throwing a damn fit, understandably so, because you're using Chinese architecture and you're getting characters wrong in their language, when basically you are making the Cuban flag in the Puerto Rican household of Spider-Man 2, when you're making that situation, but with an entire game and culture, not just a one-off flag in an apartment, you can't even pretend to talk about how you're ensuring an immersive and respectful representation. However, our intention has never been to present any of our Assassin's Creed games, including Assassin's Creed Shadows, as factual representation of history or historical characters. Yeah, no shit. But that's not what people are upset about, and you know it. Quit trying to... Here's what Ubisoft is trying to do with this statement. They are trying to make the Japanese viewers and gamers, and frankly, worldwide viewers and gamers, sound unreasonable. Sound like that's what we're asking for. It's like, oh, they absolutely need to be, 100% historical accurate. We need to see factually accurate history when it comes to gaming, when that has never been the case. Everyone knows Assassin's Creed has always been a work of fiction, but it's always been a work of fiction that revolved around certain parameters, certain storytelling styles, and you broke out of that box. You broke out of what the norm was for the storytelling in effort to push a message, and we're not blind, we can see it. Do not let them gaslight you into thinking that you are in the wrong here, and that, that we're trying to claim, oh, the game needs to be 100% historically accurate, when no one, at least nobody with any sort of half a brain, has ever said that. Instead, we aim to spark curiosity and encourage players to explore and learn more about historical settings we get inspired by. Assassin's Creed Shadow is first and foremost designed to be an entertaining video game that tells a compelling historical fiction set in feudal Japan. Yeah, again, that's not what people are upset about, and you know this. So far, we're on page 2 of 4, and you have lied, openly lied, gaslit the audience, and pretty much said you don't care about the Japanese so long as you get their money. Like, those 3 things have happened just on the first 2 pages. What are we going to get next? Our team extensively collaborated with external consultants, historians, researchers, and internal teams at Ubisoft Japan to inform our creative choices. So what you're saying is you've extensively collaborated with either frauds, because with all the information that you've been caught lying about, getting wrong, whatever it may be, either they're at fault or you are at fault because you're not listening to them. One of two. So you're either ignoring these experts are frauds, or they're at least just not very good at their job, because again, so many mistakes have been made. Or the fourth, and possibly it could be a combination of all of these experts that you are so claiming to work with are just propagandists themselves, who also want a piece of that DEI ESG pie and have a narrative to spread, because A, money talks and BS walks. Actually, in this instance, BS does walk right up in your pocket with that, wad of bills, because that's what they're doing. We've already seen historians flubbing history to say, hey, look, this is accurate, because they want that sweet, sweet dollarino. So you can't even make an appeal to authority when your authority has also been called out just as much, if not you, by the own people they claim to be authorities of. Despite these sustained efforts, we acknowledge that some elements in our promotional materials have caused concern within the Japanese community. For this, we sincerely apologize. Alright, so you wait till the third out of 4 pages to get to your apology, and still don't acknowledge that there's going to be any changes or that you've actually done anything wrong, again, to the Japanese culture. Ubisoft, again, this is a lip service apology that Ubisoft is effectively being forced into doing because they are terrified the game won't make money. All game footage presented so far is in development, and the game will keep evolving until launch. Based on the constructive criticism we have received, we will continue our efforts until we put this game into your hands and beyond. And beyond? Where else would the game go? Like, I guess we could do the world a solid and put in one of Elon Musk's rockets and shoot it into outer fucking space, but what do you mean, and beyond? We also want to clarify that while we have been consulting with many people throughout the development process, they are in no way responsible for the decisions that are taken by the creative teams in the interest of gameplay and entertainment. Yeah, don't blame the consultation companies we hired when it comes out that Sweet Baby Inc. or Gamer X or Black Girl Gamers worked on this. Don't blame them, because that's going to start another internet firestorm that could impact the sales of our game. Oh, Ubisoft, don't get me wrong. We will be very happy to blame you. But there's gonna be plenty of blame to go around when this game comes out. Let's just keep it V. I'm just saying. They are in no way responsible for the decisions that are taken by the creative teams in the interest of gameplay and entertainment. Consequently, we respectfully request that any criticism not be directed at our collaborators, both internal and external. So just, who do we criticize? Because Ubisoft aren't just some magic ethereal beings that are able to conjure video games into existence. There's gotta be some quality control going on. And if you want to say don't harass or whatever, yeah, okay, fair enough, but you straight up said do not let the criticism be directed by our collaborators. So we can't even criticize? Homie, I don't think you understand how this works. People, do not listen to this. Criticize away, whether it be positive, negative, whether it be constructive, whether it be destructive, but do not let any big shady government organization, basically the umbrella corporation of video games, tell you that you can't criticize something. Creative liberties and historical inspirations. While we strive for authenticity in everything we do, Assassin's Creed games are works of fiction inspired by real historical events and figures. From its inception, the series has taken creative license and incorporated fantasy elements to craft engaging and immersive experiences. No one has ever denied that. Thank you for stating the obvious. In fact, thank you for saying the same thing that we have all been saying throughout this entire debacle. Moving on. The representation of Yasuke in our game is an illustration of this. His unique and mysterious life made him an ideal candidate to tell Assassin's Creed story with the setting of feudal Japan as a backdrop. That's not why you did it, though. That could be an accurate statement. In all reality, that is a truthful statement. But that's not why you did it. We know the reason you did it. The reason that you made the decisions you did is because you have an agenda and a narrative to push. If this had come from a Japanese studio who wanted to tell some sort of story like this, by all means, I've had a lot of people play that game. In fact, we've seen Yasuke in other video games, and no one has batted an eye. Why has nobody batted an eye when we've seen Yasuke in other video games? Specifically games that, come from a Japanese background, that actually are made by Japanese studios. Because we know they're doing, we know they're doing whatever they want with their creative, artistic vision. Ubisoft, on the other hand, is known for taking ESG money, is known to have, BlackRock, Vanguard, have it infested into their, into the fabric of their financials, and known to be just an openly woke company, known to, change their profile to rainbow picture flags. They've been known to be an agenda, propaganda, narrative machine in the video gaming space. So when you had the opportunity to put a black guy in a game that should have been for Asians, let's be real, you took it because of the narrative, not because of the actual factual statement of his mysterious history could make for an interesting game. One of those things is not like the other, and one of those things would have been happily accepted by gamers. And because I know that it has been happily accepted by gamers in the past with other games that have Yasuke in them. While Yasuke is depicted as a samurai in Assassin's Creed Shadows, we acknowledge this is a matter of debate and discussion. We have woven this carefully into our narrative with our other lead character, the Japanese shinobi Naoe, who is equally important in the game, and the dual protagonist provided players with different gameplay styles. Again, no one is complaining about that. This word salad is meant to distract people from the fact that Ubisoft is basically saying, fuck you, we're not changing anything. While we greatly value your feedback and encourage you to continue sharing your thoughts respectfully, while we understand the meeting everyone's expectations is very difficult, no, this shouldn't have been very difficult. In fact, this should have been easy. This should have been a slam dunk. This should have been the easiest thing in the book, and I'll explain why in a moment. In fact, I won't even explain why. I'll let my girl Cult Classic Cage explain why. Let's finish this for a moment. While we understand that meeting everyone's expectations is very difficult, we sincerely hope when Assassin's Creed Shadows launches on November 15th, players in Japan and around the world will appreciate the dedication, effort, and passion we poured into it. You didn't pour any dedication, effort, or passion into this. You do not care about the art of making video games anymore, because most people don't when they become a large conglomeration. And that's just unfortunately how it works. That's not even a Ubisoft problem. These companies, they're just out here to make money and games sell. They're not out here to actually make great artistic, long-lasting pieces of art. That being said, you want to talk about how it's difficult to please everybody. Well, then explain this right here. Cult Classic Cage lays it down like a boss. Funny how Ghost of Tsushima didn't have these issues. It's almost like one studio set out to make a good, respectful game, and you guys had other things in mind, like manufacturing engagement on a mediocre franchise. Boom! Bingo, bango, bongo, mic drop from Cult Classic Cage. Absolutely roasted, because we know that that is what was happening here. And honestly, it really is sad, because I've only played the first Assassin's Creed, and I've watched my buddies play at least the first three. They're pretty fun, entertaining games. Not my cup of tea, so I wouldn't have been buying this anyway. This particular game, its existence is not an affront to my delicate sensibilities as a video game. As a narrative-pushing propaganda tool, yeah, your boys got some issues with it, but you know what? If the game came out and it was a hunky-dory piece of video game art, then maybe I'd be willing to let some stuff slide. But it doesn't even look like that's going to be the case when you see that it is just another generic Assassin's Creed game that they can't even care about enough to get the correct information right, aside from the DEI nonsense. Again, when talking about the characters being wrong, characters as in the Japanese letters, by the way, that's what I mean by characters. When talking about how the architecture is incorrect. When talking about how everyone is saying, bro, scrap this, Ghost of Tsushima did it better, and they did it like years ago. It's honestly kind of hilarious, and the fallout is only going to get worse. At what point did Ubisoft think putting out this statement, acknowledging the Japanese were right, but not apologizing in any way, and basically saying we're going to do what we want anyway, because we really don't care about you, because we know that we're going to get a lot more money from America, the West in general, maybe even China. I'm not entirely sure how this game's going to go over in China. This is just to save face because of all the bad media backlash that's going around, to the point where even the Japanese government was investigating some of the sources they used for to base the information on Yasuke in this game. This game may or may not have actually caused a legal international incident by complete and utter mistake. And that is bananas. You'll love to see it. We live in the best timeline. But those are just my opinions. Let me know yours in the comments down below, or let me know on X, where you can find me at Bolt the Word. And please do subscribe. I have a nerdy news channel. I cover nerdy news every day. Not always about Assassin's Creed Shadows or video games, but anime, movies, music, Magic the Gathering, you name it. Check me out on Instagram at wordsofparadise_Leon and become a member for $4.99 a month. You can join the Discord, choose the articles I react to on a day-to-day basis, choose the videos I go over on my Friday night live streams, and of course, get involved with over 80 other vital idols. It is a bright, beautiful, glowing, vibrant community that I cannot wait to grow even further, because we do care about diversity. We're only one kind of diversity of thought. So if that sounds up your alley, then by all means, hit the subscribe button, join the Discord, and until next time, it is all here in the Nerdosphere. This has been Words of Paradise.